Hi there, Brian here. Welcome back to the Cashflow Desk. Today we're tackling zero-based budgeting, a budgeting method that sounds intense and kind of is. You've probably heard it mentioned as this revolutionary approach that forces you to justify every dollar you spend. But here's the real question. Is all that extra work actually worth it for your business? We're going to break down what zero-based budgeting really involves, when it makes sense, and when you're probably better off sticking with something simpler. So what exactly is zero-based budgeting? The basic idea is this. Instead of starting with last year's budget and adjusting it up or down, you start from zero. Every expense has to be justified from scratch, as if you're building the budget for the first time. Traditional budgeting might look at last year's marketing spend of $50,000 and say, let's bump that to $55,000 for growth. Zero-based budgeting says, forget last year. What marketing spend would actually drive the results we need this year? It's like cleaning out your closet by emptying it completely, instead of just reorganizing what's already there. Everything has to earn its way back in. The goal is to eliminate spending that's become automatic but isn't really adding value anymore. When zero-based budgeting works well, it can be genuinely transformative. The biggest advantage is that it forces you to question assumptions. Maybe that software subscription made sense 3 years ago, but now there's a better option at half the price. Traditional budgeting might just roll it forward. Zero-based budgeting catches it. It also helps you align spending with current priorities. A consulting firm might realize they're still budgeting heavily for trade shows when their best leads now come from digital channels. Zero-based budgeting makes those misalignments obvious. And there's something to be said for the discipline it creates. When every department has to justify their requests, it tends to eliminate the nice-to-have expenses that creep into budgets over time. But let's be honest about the downsides, because they're significant. Zero-based budgeting is incredibly time-intensive. Instead of a few weeks of budget planning, you're looking at months. Every line item becomes a research project. It can also create analysis paralysis. When you're questioning everything, it becomes harder to make decisions quickly. Some businesses get so caught up in the process that they miss budget deadlines entirely. There's also a risk of cutting too deep. Not every expense shows immediate ROI. Things like employee training, system maintenance, or brand building might get eliminated because their value is harder to quantify in the short term. And frankly, it can be demoralizing for teams who feel like they're constantly having to defend basic operational needs. So when is zero-based budgeting actually worth the effort? It tends to work best in specific situations. Companies going through major transitions, like a pivot, merger, or significant downsizing, often benefit because they need to fundamentally rethink how they operate. It's also valuable for businesses with bloated cost structures. If you suspect there's significant waste but can't pinpoint where, zero-based budgeting will find it, and it makes sense for companies with highly variable business models. A project-based consulting firm or seasonal retailer might find that zero-based budgeting helps them stay flexible and responsive to changing conditions. But for most stable, growing businesses, the juice probably isn't worth the squeeze. The time and energy you'd spend on zero-based budgeting might be better invested in growing revenue. Here's what I'd recommend for most businesses. Consider a hybrid approach. Keep your traditional budgeting process for core operations: payroll, rent, essential software. These are your non-negotiables. But apply zero-based thinking to specific categories where you suspect there might be waste. Marketing spend, professional services, travel and entertainment, areas where costs tend to creep up over time. Or try it on a rotating basis. This year, zero-base your technology expenses. Next year, take a fresh look at your facilities costs. This way, you get the benefits without the overwhelming time commitment. So here's the bottom line on zero-based budgeting. It's a powerful tool, but it's not right for every business or every situation. The question isn't whether it works, it absolutely can. The question is whether the results justify the significant time and effort it requires. For most growing businesses, a targeted approach that applies zero-based thinking to specific problem areas is probably the sweet spot. You get the benefits without turning your entire budgeting process into a months-long ordeal. If this was helpful, hit like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments. Have you tried zero-based budgeting? How did it work for your business? Thanks for watching. I'm Brian, and I'll see you in the next one.